Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a triple feature of parole violations that'll make you question what some people think good behavior actually means. First up, we have a parolee who decided to spice things up with a little phone theft. The next case insists their involvement in a knife-wielding domestic dispute was just a misunderstanding. And last but not least, we have a parolee whose love life could rival a soap opera, complete with domestic violence accusations. Whether it's knives, theft, or chaotic home lives, these three cases are prime examples of what not to do while on parole. Let's dive in.
Good morning. The Louisiana Committee on Parole is impaneled at headquarters in Baton Rouge. We're going to be hearing an offender at the Woodward Parish Jail. Today's date is October the 15th. On the panel today, serving with me virtually is Cheryl Renatza and Steve Prater, and I'm Jerry Ledoux. Today we have staff here at headquarters. Do you introduce yourself?
Jason Thompson. Cheryl.
Francis Abbott.
Time is 9:04. Sir, is there anyone in there with you? Any staff with you? I don't hear. Okay. Could the staff there unmute and introduce yourself?
Deputy Johnson with BPSO.
Thank you very much. Okay. Sir, would you please state your name and your DOC number for the record?
Lloyd D. Hayes II, 612-509.
Okay. So, Mr. Hayes, you're before the committee today to address some parole violations. But before we do that, I'd like to see, do you have a piece of paper that you've signed that indicates that you are not being treated for mental illness and that you can read and write or not eligible for appointed counsel?
Yes.
Paper. Do you see on the screen the paper?
Yes, ma'am, I see it.
Okay, that's your signature.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that indicates that you're not eligible for appointed counsel. Have you hired an attorney for today?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is read some the parole violation allegations, and then I'm going to ask you to enter a plea of guilty, not guilty, or guilty with a statement. Okay, so I have that on or about 4/21/2024, you committed the offense of battery of a dating partner, misdemeanor, and theft under 1,000 misdemeanor, which led to your arrest in Woodward Parish. You took a plea deal on 8/15/2024 and pled guilty to theft misdemeanor. The battery of a dating partner was dropped due to the plea deal. How do you plead on that?
Guilty with as far as what am I pleading guilty to exactly?
Whether you committed the theft and battery of a dating partner.
Well, I would say not guilty. The battery of a dating partner was dropped.
Okay. But I'm asking about the activity. So you're pleading not guilty to the battery of a dating partner. Are you pleading guilty to the theft? Okay, so I'll bifurcate that and make it A and B. Okay. A, and you pled not guilty to the battery. Also, violation number 10, you are $845 in arrears on your account. How do you plead?
Guilty.
Okay. At this time, we have two people who are in attendance via Zoom that would like to speak on your behalf. First of all, you have your mother, Sharon Hayes, and you have Elizabeth Everett, your girlfriend. So I'm going to allow Ms. Hayes to make a statement first. Ms. Hayes, can you hear me?
Good morning. Yes, ma'am. Good morning. How are you?
Good.
I am here on behalf of my son, Floyd Hayes. I am saying that I am pleading with the parole board to release him because I need him home. He has he has made a lot of changes in his life, and he has also helped me out a lot around the house since his dad has passed away. He has been a big support for me and for my household. And I need him home.
Well, thank you for being in attendance today. We also have Elizabeth Everett, who would like to speak. Ms. Everett?
Hi.
Go ahead.
I'm trying to unmute me. To unmute me? You good? Good morning. I just wanted to get on here and say that Floyd is definitely much needed at home and that he has completely changed his life in the past year or so. And that this was a situation that was blown out of proportion. He is an amazing dad and his kids need him home badly. So does his mother. He's a very, very, very big person in his mom's life. And he's amazing. Anyways, thank you.
You. Mr. Prater is going to start off with asking some questions, Mr. Hayes, so avail yourself to his question.
Hey, Mr. Hayes. Let me ask you to begin with. Tell me about the April of 2024 arrest for battery of a dating partner and theft. Go over that with me and tell me what happened.
Well, it was alleged to be the month before that on March 21st. They picked me up on April 21st.
Okay.
Was that I took the cell phone and it had a wallet attached to it with all her cards and everything. And her baby's daddy, he was over everything at the time, paying bills, and I was supposed to be a secret. So once he found out and things hit the fan, that caused him to come up with extra money because it had her food stamp cards that he sent her money on to take care of everything. And he told me that if he had to get into it, I didn't have the phone anymore because I got rid of it. So he told me to give it back to her. I can't produce something that I don't have. So he said, if he has to get into it, then it's going to be trouble. So I told him to go ahead and take care of it because I don't have it. So since it cost him extra and he felt like that he had to push her along with his mother to push her to go press charges and follow up on things of that sort. And that was
Why did you take the phone?
well, because there was a laptop that I bought for her so she could do some schooling, and she told me that I had to leave. So I told her if I have to leave, then I want my stuff. And she refused to give it to me. So I said, I'm going to call him. That's when I got her phone. I'm going to call him. Since he's paying for everything, he'll pay me for the laptop. And that's where that came into play. She said she didn't care. Go ahead, leave. I don't care what you do. And she didn't think I was going to leave with the phone.
Wasn't your phone though?
No, sir.
Okay. What about the things that were attached to that phone, the wallet and all that? What'd you do with all that?
I just threw the whole thing out and threw it out the window. Because when I left with it, I was trying to get away the whole time. So as I'm telling her I'm going to call him, I'm getting in my truck and I'm leaving. So that's what happened.
Okay. Well, that's pretty simple. You took something that wasn't yours and then you threw it away and couldn't find it again.
Yes, sir.
And number 10, you owe $845, rule number 10. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right. I don't have any other questions.
Can I add something in there? When I went to this had happened on March 21st, so I had to report that first week of April. My parole officer asked me about it because Mr. Zach had called him and told him about the incident between me and her. And he asked me about it. He said there was a fight. I said, no, sir, it was not a fight. I bought her another phone, but she did not want it. I said, it's actually out in my truck. I said, she did not want it. He said, okay. He said, so you're sure everything is fine? I said, yes, sir. He said, because somebody called about you. And I actually asked her who called, and she said it was probably him. So this is all just a big misunderstanding behind a cell phone. And I had to suffer for it. And, you know, I learned a lesson, valuable lesson in the meantime.
Well, how come did Elizabeth recant the statement
Which statement? Yes, yes, sir. I'm pretty
to the
sure.
DA's office?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, that seems kind of odd. And Elizabeth, let me, Madam Chairman, would it be appropriate to ask Elizabeth a question?
You may, of course, yeah.
Okay. Elizabeth, why'd you lie about this? You either lied to the DA or you lied to the police. You're still muted.
Hi. Because at the time my ex was paying all of my bills, and I had a job, but I wasn't making lots of money. Anyways, I have 4 kids to take care of, and he told me that if I did not go and say these things, that he would not continue to pay my bills and help me, therefore making me homeless and vehicleless and having no shelter for my children. So I felt like ultimately I had to. I was forced to. And I should have never done it.
You caused quite a bit of problems.
Yes, sir.
If in fact, anyway, that's not my place to talk to you like that, but okay, that's all I have. That's all the questions I have of either one of them.
Thank you. I do want to ask, is there a permanent protective order signed by the court that he's not to have contact with you, Ms. Everett?
Yes, ma'am.
So if he were to be released, you understand there's a no contact order?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I don't have any questions. Mr. Ronson has no questions. So Mr. Hayes, at this time, the panel will be voting. Mr. Prater, you'll be voting first.
Yes, ma'am. My vote is that Mr. Hayes be revoked on his parole. I think that I think he's admitting to some pretty serious violation there, just stealing something, somebody and throwing it out the window. That's certainly not activity you would expect on parole. And then when I reflect back on his other activities while he's been on parole for the same, in the same time period, and it just seems like he can't stay out of trouble. And when you're on parole, you gotta avoid trouble. So my vote is to revoke his parole.
Ms. Renata?
Yes, I also vote to revoke. He pled guilty in court to criminal activity, so I find him guilty of violating condition number 4.
Hayes, I do find that you have been out of line with your parole conditions as a 4th class offender. You know what conduct expectations are. So today you have been revoked. We find you guilty on number 4 and 10. And so that'll be all for today. Okay, good morning. The time is now 9:25. The Louisiana Committee on Parole is impaneled. As the chair here in Baton Rouge, we have virtually on panel today Cheryl Renatza and Steve Prater. My name is Jerry Ledoux. We are currently hearing an offender at Evangeline Parish Jail. Will the staff there introduce yourself, please?
This is Sergeant Boudreaux.
Thank you, Sergeant Boudreaux. Sir, would you please introduce yourself and give us your name and your DOC number?
My name is Brutus Hudson, DOC number 505365.
Okay. Mr. Hudson, do you have in your possession a questionnaire that you've signed indicating you're not eligible for appointed counsel. Do you see that, Mayor?
No, man, I have one, but I don't have it with me.
I'll show it. I just want to verify that you have signed that. We'll put it on the screen.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that indicates that you're not eligible for appointed counsel. Did you request, do you have retained counsel?
No, ma'am.
So today, Mr. Hudson, what we're going to be doing is reading out some parole violations against you. And then I'm going to need you to enter a plea of either guilty, not guilty, or guilty with a statement. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you have been accused of violating condition number 4 of your parole, in that you failed to refrain from criminal conduct on or about July 27th, 2024, by the commission of a domestic abuse aggravated assault and domestic abuse aggravated assault child endangerment in Hill Platte. On August 2nd, you appeared before Judge Fontenot, 13th Judicial Court, for a Gwynn's Law hearing, at which time the victim testified and the state submitted an affidavit of non-prosecution, and the court accepted it. So those charges were ordered to pass without charge. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
Okay. Number 5, you were in possession of a knife during the altercation with Chantrella Fontenot on July 27th, 2024. How do you
Not
plead?
guilty.
And violation number 10, you are currently in arrears of $126 in your supervision fees.
Guilty.
Mr. Hudson, you're a 5th class offender, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Your case is going to be handled by Mr. Prater. So would you answer Mr. Prater's questions, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Hudson, how are you today?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm doing good, doing good. Tell me about the knife. Who had the knife?
There was never a knife involved.
Okay.
She just said she was gonna get a knife. It was never a knife involved.
With the juvenile told police at the scene there was a knife, and that one tried to get the knife away from you, and lucky they didn't get cut. That was the words of the juvenile to the police, and police show up, and one juvenile runs out there and says he got a knife. He's got a knife.
No,
I don't understand.
a juvenile never ran outside, and they never. She said that I had a knife because the mother told her to say that after when she came in there and said I had a knife, but I never had a knife. The girl never ran outside. I'm the one got her to open the door when they knocked. I thought it was my mother at the door because I had called my mother to come pick me up.
The affidavit for your arrest, the officers say that upon arrival to 806 North Latour Street, Ville Platte, a juvenile female ran out of the apartment yelling, quotation marks, he got a knife, end of quotation marks. Officers made contact with Hudson and his girlfriend, Miss Fontenot, who were arguing in the back bedroom. That doesn't sound like you answered the door according to the police report, because I wasn't there.
No, I didn't answer the door. The children answered the door because they came to our room, opened the door. She verified. I never told her. She never ran outside at all.
Didn't you just say you opened the door?
No,
sir. I misunderstood that.
No, sir. I'd say I had got the children to open the door. The little girl, the one went open the door when I told them to open the door. Because they came and said somebody was knocking at the door. We was in one room, they was in another room.
This doesn't sound like what I'm reading, which is quotation marks from here. I don't understand. You had just been on parole for two months, right? Less
Yes,
than 2
sir.
months.
Yes, sir. I was just getting out in May.
What does parole mean to you?
Parole mean to, like, you still kind of incarcerated, but home supervision, and that you cannot get involved in no kind of physical or violent activity, none whatsoever.
If you did that, if you was in jail and did that, you'd be in trouble.
Yes,
You
sir.
out on parole and you do that, or accused of doing that, you'd be in trouble.
Yes, sir.
And so you were. Why didn't you avoid that?
That's what I was doing. That's why I called my mother. I never, honestly, I never, none of that stuff that was read said I did. I never done none of it. I never hit her. I never fought with this girl a day in my life. My 40 years of living, I never fought with her. I never put my hand on a female ever in my life. Never. Me and this girl been together for a couple of years now, a few years now, and me and her never had a violent relationship. Never. I never had a violent relationship with no woman ever in my life. Never. So when the police came, when the police said that if you can read the statement that they wrote, one they said that they seen me with a knife and they told me to put the knife down. And then at the bottom of the statement they wrote, they said that they never seen a knife or a knife with nowhere involved or around.
Just they told you to put the knife down because they had been told you had a knife. And they come into a situation where people are fighting, and the first thing they're going to do is say, put the gun down, even if they don't see the gun or knife, because they've been told there was a knife there. So
yeah, but
doesn't that make sense to you that they were told there was a knife there?
Yeah, but when they came, nobody told them that it was a knife. My girlfriend never called the police. No, when they came for a disturbance. Would never no knife was said. They came in there. That's when she started saying that something about a knife. But nobody never had a knife.
Said about the knife.
She started saying something about a knife. But nobody, either me or her had a knife. She told me that first I had her phone. I made the phone call for phone to my mom. And she was like, if I ain't give her phone, she was gonna get a knife. We never had a knife. A knife never was involved. Never.
Police were told there was a knife involved.
Yeah, she told them when they come in the house.
Okay.
They didn't get a call saying we had a knife or nobody was fighting. They just came for a disturbance. They so-called what they said. But she never called the police.
Okay. We're looking at something right quick. Okay, and you had never heard a woman before in your life?
I never hit a woman before in my life.
Okay.
Never.
All right, that's all the questions I got.
Your mother has joined us by telephone and would like to make a statement. Members, if you'll allow her to make that statement now.
Yes.
Ma'am, can you hear us? Okay, just one moment. Okay.
His girlfriend is here too. The one had to give me the statement she wanted to talk to you all too.
Could you please, ma'am, give us your name and your relationship?
My name is Kathy Sumler. I'm his mother.
Would you like to go ahead and make a statement to the panel? Panel members, can you hear?
Yes.
Well, really, I don't have much to say. I just got the call. He told me to come pick him up. And then I told him I was on my way. He called me back. He told me to come on and get him because him and his girlfriend was fighting. He told me to come and get him. He said, I'm going to stay on the phone with you until you get here. But all I heard him just say, just stop, stop, stop. And then the phone hung up. And by the time I made it there, they was bringing him to jail. And I went upstairs and I asked the girlfriend where he was. She said they had took the jail. So I walked downstairs and there was Mr. Al Perry and told me they had got into an altercation. They was fussing and stuff. There was no contact or fighting or anything like that I know of, because I wasn't there. But his girlfriend, she's sitting here and she want to talk because she want to talk to people. That's all I know about the situation.
Okay. So, ma'am, would you identify yourself?
Charles Button.
Okay, Spot, no. What would you like to tell us about that incident?
The night of the incident, I just want you guys to know that Brutus, like the situation, the way it happened, like even with the knife situation, no knife was found on the scene of when the cops arrived. No knife was involved. No weapons was involved. He never, like, physically or anything that night. Like I told the officers, and I had it written on the statement. I told them I was the aggressor in the situation. I was just trying to get my phone from him, and I was tugging on him, pulling on him. So when the cops did arrive, we because I had contacted my mom that night, and she ended up calling the cops. Why, I don't know. I just need told her to come over to help me get the phone or whatever from doing this, because I know once she would arrive, you would give the phone to her. So she ended up calling the police. Like I said, me and Bruce was still, going back and forth about the phone. There wasn't no physical altercation or anything. So when the cops did arrive, when they came in, they believing that he's on me, but he was really trying to, get me off of him, because I was ripping his coat, trying to ripping his pants up, trying to get my phone out of his pocket. So that's why I wrote on my statement whenever he did get arrested that I was the aggressor in the situation. And that's why all the charges had signed affidavit and stuff for the charges to be dropped. But that's really what I wanted to speak on, that he was never the aggressor in the situation. It was me.
So how did your children figure out that there was a knife involved? That's one of the things I'm not understanding.
Well, with the knife part, like I said, with the knife part, I was the one hollering out about a knife. Like, I was like, if you don't give me my phone, I'm gonna get a knife this day. So maybe my daughter overheard me saying that or whatever. That's the only thing I can believe. But like I said, when the police arrived, they came in the room where we extra was and all that, and they looked through the room. No knife was ever found, none of it. So I believe that's where that came in from, when she heard me over saying it. But Bruce did not have a knife. I did not have a knife. I stated I was going to get one, but I never actually got one. So that's how they came in with the children, with my daughter part.
Okay.
And I was scared that night, because when the cop did ask her, who had the knife, they was like, me or Bruce. And I guess me being her mom, she looked at me and I pointed to Brutus, and that's when she just said Brutus. She's 6 years old, so she's going to go off of what I said. And I was scared that night because the other officer, not the chief of police, he was threatening with CPS. It was like that night they was going to take my kids from me and this and that, threatening to say.
All right. Board members, do you have any other questions for Ms. Fontenot?
No.
Okay. Thank you very much for attending. I'm going to go ahead and hang up now. So, Mr. Prater, do you have further questions after that time?
More questions?
Ms. Renatza?
No questions, thank you.
Okay. So, Mr. Hudson, with everything we've been presented, I think the panel is prepared to vote. Mr. Prater?
Yes, I'm prepared to vote. Mr. Hudson, I wish you well and hope you do good, but you got to learn that when you get on parole that you got to last for longer than 6 weeks or 7 weeks before you get into an altercation in a volatile relationship. I think that there's some untruthful things being said. I don't believe everything that you've said about this incident. And for that reason, with your history and I just don't think you're ready to get out.
Can
How
I
about this parole?
can I say something?
I don't. We're voting now. I think that the time to have said something would be earlier. Mr. Nodson?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Hudson, I want to make it clear that those charges were not dropped. They're just held in abeyance. They were passed without date. I do agree with Mr. Prater. Something happened that night, and it was a very volatile situation. I do find you guilty of violating condition number 4 and 10.
Mr.
My vote
Hudson,
is to revoke. Excuse me, I didn't say that.
my vote is also to revoke, but I just want you to know that you made a statement that you never hit a woman, but you do have 6 arrests for violence against a person, simple battery, aggravated battery, and things like that. So that's not why I'm making the decision today, but today your parole has been revoked. We wish you well. Thank you.
Can I say something while y'all still there?
I don't think
while y'all still there.
it won't matter, but I mean, you want to say something, but
I know. I just want to speak on it though.
Say it. What do you want to say?
Look, even though I've been revoked on this, I know that I really honestly didn't do none of the stuff that's going on. Every time each time I was on parole, I never got in trouble. Every time I went to jail, I never said that I didn't do this or didn't do that. I took my responsibility for that.
You've got an opportunity. You'll be getting out again, and you'll have an opportunity to prove that. Okay.
Yeah,
and
I know.
Wish you well. We thank you, though. We've got a lot of people to see today. Okay. The time is now 9:43, and we're signing off in Evangeline Parish. The Louisiana Committee on Parole is impaneled for hearings this week. My name is Jerry Ledoux. I'm chairing. We have virtually Cheryl Lanatza and Steve Prater joining us on the panel. We're going to be hearing several offenders at Orleans Parish Prison. Do we have anybody staffing there? Sarah, is there anyone in the room with you?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so for the record, there's no staff there at Orleans. Sir, you're before the Louisiana Committee on Parole. Have you heard me introduce everyone? Okay. We also today, let's have your name and your DOC number first, if you don't mind.
Leonard, 583572.
Okay. Mr. Leonard, we're going to be dealing with some parole violations. Let me ask you, did you have a piece of paper in front of you that shows that you're not eligible for appointed counsel?
I have 2 pieces of paper.
Let's see what you have. Do you have one that asks you if you have any mental health problems you can read and write?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so you are not eligible for appointed counsel, but you do have a retained counsel. Is that correct? Or are you appointed? I'm sorry.
I think it's the public defender's office.
Oh, it is.
Yes, ma'am. This is Catherine Kearney with the public defender's office.
I see it now. Yes, I'm sorry. So you have appointed counsel. You also have Catherine Kana with Orleans Defender's Office. So you have an attorney and an advocate.
Yes, ma'am.
For time, if you wish to assist him in any way, then feel free to speak up. We're going to be reading some violations Mr. Leonard, and we're going to ask you to enter a plea of guilty, not guilty, or guilty with a statement. Okay, if you need assistance from your attorneys at any time, let me know. So the first thing we have is that you violated parole condition number 4 on that June 18th, 2024. You were arrested by the East Bank Levee Police, who had been detailed to the FBI Violent Crime Task Force and charged with simple battering of a dating partner by strangulation, and unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, and simple criminal damage to property. Also, aggravated assault with a firearm, domestic abuse battery, simple battery, and theft. However, on August 13th, 2024, the charges were refused by the district attorney's office. I'm asking you to enter a plea of guilty, not guilty, or guilty with a statement to those violation accusations.
Not guilty.
Condition number 5, on 6/18, you were arrested. So it's the same information. So how do you plead on that one?
Not guilty.
And number 10, you're currently $1,822 in arrears of your supervision fees.
Guilty.
So, Mr. Leonard, I'm going to ask Ms. Renazza to go ahead and start the questioning at this time.
Okay, thank you. Tell us what happened, Mr. Leonard. You pled not guilty to both number 4 and 5. What happened during that incident?
It was just about more that I apologize for maybe responding differently towards the situation or arguments with my dating spouse, but it was a little over fabricated with the police reports about what took place. But other than that, I take responsibility. I could have responded better than I could have done things differently, but the police reports is just not accurate about exactly what took place.
What did take place?
It just was she's pregnant, and it was just a lot of emotions, or whether I was late coming home, or if a missed phone call, any of those subjects.
So you were arrested because you were late coming home?
I had the attachments out, which I didn't even have the knowledge of knowing I had the attachments. I still was in compliance. I didn't even know I had any of those attachments.
So why did you have the attachments?
Disagreement with my dating spouse. An argument.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Tell me what happened during that argument.
It's like I didn't come home. She have a little mental issue, and it's like any little thing ticks her off, and she goes crazy.
Right. Did you take her car?
No, ma'am. We shared a vehicle. I tried to eliminate myself from the situation, and that part was about.
Well, let me ask you, when at the time of, let's see, this was based on her report to the police. The question, there was risk questions that were asked of her. One was, do you think he will seriously injure or kill you, your children, or someone else close to you? What makes you think so, or what makes you think not? And the answer was yes, because he told me so. How frequently does he intimidate, threaten, or assault you? Often, very often. It's getting worse. Why would she say those things?
Because I'm a parolee, and the way of winning in the battle of argument or anything was me being incarcerated or finding a way to have me in jail. And that's why I sit today with the decisions from that.
She also said that you said if you called the police, you would kill her because she was trying to take away your freedom.
Oh, ma'am, I was also with her when I came to jail. I was still in a relationship. It's just a bit fabricated, and I'm sorry that we got this far.
And we are talking about Tori?
Yes, ma'am.
Because it's somewhere in here I read where in 2020, well, that you were no longer in a relationship with her. You're saying you are?
Yes, ma'am.
Where is she today?
I'm not sure right now, maybe work.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, I've reviewed the record. I hear what you're saying, but I reviewed the police reports and her statement. So I just like to sit back and hear from my colleague and what your lawyers have to say.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Prater, do you have any questions?
I'd like to hear from the lawyers first to see what they say. Like
Okay.
us to be at the end.
Ms. Kearney, would you like to make a statement?
Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to confirm, I spoke with Mr. Leonard's parole officer, and she said that she sent you a letter from Ms. Moore, and I just want to confirm that you received that.
We did.
Okay. So I will say that I have spoken with Ms. Moore several times now, and she has, as I think she stated in a letter to you all, she has said that she was very much struggling with her mental health at the time, that she was having some breaks in terms of her ability to understand what was real and what wasn't real. She was also concerned about her own ability to keep herself safe. She has since sought treatment and is thankfully in a much better place, both for herself and for her children. And she wanted me to express to all of you, as she did in the letter, that that the things that she shared with the police were not true, that Mr. Leonard did not put his hands on her, that they struggled with communication, which I think is what Mr. Leonard is saying as well, and that she was really having a difficult time during that period. So she has told me that the things that she said were not true. We also just would like to highlight, and Ms. Cunha can do this as well, how well Mr. Leonard did when he was out on parole before he was picked up on these charges. He was working for UPS. He was working with at Delgado and doing very well there. My understanding from his parole officer, I understand that he was behind in fines and fees, but other than that, they had a good working relationship, and Mr. Leonard has expressed to me that she was a source of support for him and was really helping him build his life back. We also received letters from his family, and so I'll just share that his brother has told us that that Mr. Leonard is really a pillar in their family. He especially helps with childcare for his niece and nephew, including taking care of them throughout the summer, and they would just ask that that he be given the chance to continue the work that he was doing when he was out on parole, which is building his life extensively in the way that we all hope that people will take that chance when they are given the chance on parole. I believe Mr. Leonard is an exemplary, example of that. I think that Ms. Moore deeply regrets what's happened here, as does Mr. Leonard. And I will say that in my experience with Mr. Leonard, I've known him now for several months. He has really reflected on this situation. And although, what is described in the police reports is not what happened, Mr. Leonard understands that there were different ways to handle the situation, that there was a conflict between them, and that that he should have walked away sooner, that there are many ways in which they could have communicated better to avoid this. And so I just believe that Mr. Leonard would continue all of the work that he was doing when he was out on parole, both in his education, his family, his work life. And as unfortunate as this experience was, I think he has really gained insight from it in terms of his interpersonal relationships and the way he communicates with the various people in his life. So I just want to pass it to Ms. Cunha to talk about, we do have a reentry plan for Mr. Leonard, and I'm just going to pass it to her to talk about that.
Hi, thank you so much for allowing me to speak today. I'm Catherine Cunha. I'm Tawan Leonard's client advocate at Orleans Public Defenders. I'm here today not only to express my support for Tawan, but to share with the board his plan to value any opportunity this board grants him for continued rehabilitation and successful reentry. So Tawan and I began working together while he was incarcerated at Orleans Justice Center. And frankly, it's been clear to me since my first meeting with him that he is a very kind, intelligent, and valuable human being. His growth thus far, his hope for his future, and his genuine commitment to positive and productive reentry is incredible, and it's inspiring. And through consistent communication with his mom and his friends, many of whom are watching today on YouTube, I've also seen firsthand the support that Tawan has in his life and the value and love that he has for his family and his community. His journey after incarceration, although flawed as life is for all of us, I believe is an example of what I hope many of my other clients can work towards as they face similar hardships and tests of faith. Tawan and I have developed a reentry plan, which has been provided to this board in writing, along with letters and photos from his family and friends. In short, the plan includes the support from his family and his community, stability in his housing, his education, his employment, and it also includes Tawan's enrollment in the first 72 plus rehabilitative reentry and peer mentorship program, which is in New Orleans. And there's also a letter provided to this board from them as well, confirming that. I say with complete honesty that I am confident in Tawan's character and his commitment to a positive future. And seeing his growth thus far has been, I think, a blessing to me, to his whole case team, to his family. And I hope that blessing continues on. I respectfully ask the parole board today to take this hope and Tawan's positive contributions to many lives into consideration as his case is further discerned upon today. And I would like to just now read a brief message from Natasha, Tawan's mom. She's currently with Tawan's uncle in the hospital right now, and she's unable to speak directly to you. My name is Natasha Leonard, the mother of Tawan Wade Leonard. Tawan was raised close with his siblings in a family of 5. He's a very smart young man with a heart of gold. He has a hand and a heart for drawing. He draws very good. When he was in high school, he was in the newspaper for having a 4.0 GPA. He's a great young man. He had a job with UPS, and now he's in jail, but can get the job back if he gets out. Also, he is enrolled in Delgado Community College. Tawan is also a great basketball player. He was also in talents class in school. I love and miss my son so much. I've been dealing with a lot. My brother's been in the hospital for 8 months. He had a heart transplant. He suffers from his kidney failure and his lungs collapsed. I need Tawan for support and to help my brother. I'm sorry I'm getting this letter so late. I've been in the hospital by my brother's bedside. So I thank the parole board for listening to me and to Kat, as well as Mr. Leonard today. And I thank you for your thoughtful consideration here.
Okay. Mr. Prater, do you have any further questions?
I'm confused. When was he paroled? In what year?
21.
In 21. And since this occurrence happened in 24, and when the officers were on the scene, the way I'm reading this, they found several, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 outstanding warrants for him that occurred after he had been out. And I'm curious about that. They're all 4 of them involved domestic violence with this same lady. Do you know anything about that? What's the situation with all those warrants?
Are you asking me, sir? I can.
Either the attorney, Ms. Attorney, or the offender, yes. Can someone clear that up?
So as I said, I spoke with Ms. Moore about these various reports. I think unfortunately it is the same explanation for most of them, that Ms. Moore was dealing with some very significant mental health issues, which she has shared with you all through a letter through Mr. Leonard's parole officer. And I think, honestly, it seemed that she was surprised to hear that there were this many warrants. I think she was not aware. I think she was not aware when she was making the reports. I think she wasn't aware later on that she had made so many reports. I think she was having gaps in memory. And so she was surprised to hear that there were so many warrants out for reports that she had made. So I wish I could offer more of an explanation than that, but that when I've spoken with Ms. Moore and what she has asked me to share with all of you and shared in her letter, I think she was very much struggling, and she does not, honestly, it seems like, remember a few of these police reports, and was surprised to hear that there were so many warrants out for Mr. Leonard.
This involves a firearm, aggravated assault with a firearm, battery of a dating officer, and they're on different dates. These are five. We're talking at least 3, maybe 4 different things, plus some traffic warrants. Have those warrants been disposed of at this point?
Yes, sir. All of those cases have been refused. So the DA, he was arrested on each of those warrants. The DA, the district attorney in Orleans, reviewed all of them and refused all of the charges.
And what started this incident, this latest incident, where Mr. Tuan, Mr. Leonard, were you in bed with another woman when she came home? You were? Okay, that's what started the fight, correct?
Right, sir.
Okay, well, that could, so that part of the report is right and accurate that she told police, but the rest of it is not accurate, or none of these other things are accurate, correct? Okay, well, I can see why she'd be kind of upset, but of course, that doesn't give you a right to lie on anybody, no matter how upset you are. Why you're on parole? Why don't you stay away from this woman that keeps charging you with these false things?
Honestly, sir, it was a struggle with love, and I didn't honestly know she suffered with a mental health ability until I actually felt like it got a little too far. And I apologize for the lack of knowledge to knowing her mental health and allowing it to get that far, but I honestly didn't know it first. Like I wasn't even aware of the attachments at some point. Like I had to come to jail to realize I had those attachments because my parole officer also didn't get any notification of them.
This is a strange deal. I'd like to see those reports. And okay, I don't have any other questions.
In one of the arrests in January, it notes that the officer observed Ms. Moore had upper and lower lip was swollen, blood pockets in her mouth, bruising on the inside of her lips. And she was complaining of pain in her leg, back, and right side, consistent with the above mentioned attack. So at some point there was some kind of violence because she had known injuries. I did note that you did have one sanction previously for not reporting. So you may have been doing great in the last year, but the first 2 years was kind of rocky. You've had problems with employment and stuff like that. Yeah, so it wasn't an easy beginning. Mr. Notza.
Yeah, let me just, I have one more thing. The note that I read from Ms. Moore is dated August 23rd, and she ends it saying, Me and Tawan are no longer in contact, and I have no plans on future contact with Tawan Leonard. So is that true or not?
What day was that, ma'am?
August 23rd, 2024.
We were still together, honestly.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand you.
We were still together. That's who I was living with.
Why does she say she doesn't want to be in contact with you at all?
I'm not sure. She had her ups and downs spells with things. Like, I wasn't even aware that that part was said, honestly.
All right.
So I can just, one thing I can clarify is that they haven't had any contact since Mr. Leonard has been
He's in
incarcerated.
jail. Yeah, right. I understand that. Okay, thank you.
Was that part of your
Madam Chair.
Residence plan though? What is your residence plan? Having him live with her?
No, ma'am. He'll be living with his mother.
Sorry, go ahead, Ms. Renata. I apologize.
Yes, I'd like, at the appropriate time, I'll make a motion for executive session.
I think the time is now, so we've got a motion for an executive session. I'll second it.
Great.
Sharon Renata,
Yes.
Steve Prayer,
Yes.
Gary Ledoux.
Yes.
3 for 3. It's honestly impressive how these parolees manage to violate the terms of their release in such wildly different, yet equally disastrous ways. These cases show that when it comes to parole, bad decisions and chaotic relationships are the quickest ticket back to jail. But hey, some people just don't learn, right? What do you think? Are we looking at future repeat offenders, or is there hope for these folks yet? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more gripping courtroom moments. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.